Aloha. Maggie, wonderful job. Remember, we're not here to conquer it all. We're just here to take little tiny tidbits, and I think you're doing an amazing job. Our first finger on the first fret, second finger on the second fret, third finger on the third fret, and fourth finger on the fourth fret is only supposed to serve for these fingers to stay kind of close. What we're trying to avoid is playing a note and keeping our fingers way off the fretboard. It's all about proximity to the fretboard to keep nice and tight together. The functionality of doing these spider exercises is just to build muscle memory. It's not supposed to do anything other than that. There is no other rhyme or reason besides that. It gets us away from using the thumb for everything and uses our first finger to do a little plucking. The concept about putting your thumb on top here and having it sit like Humpty Dumpty, if we're aware that we're doing that, we're more likely to put our thumb right above the note we just got done playing. So when we play the C string, we mute the G string. When we play the E string, we mute the C string. This is secondary nature, and if you start doing it like this, it'll just automatically make things easier in the long run. So for you and I, what we had talked about was the C major and the F major being able to be shapes that when we played in a secondary fingering, we can move them and then bar. That was a C major with 3 open strings. You now know that the C, E, and the G are already a triad without even having that additional C. Meaning with the open A string, that's a C major with a 6 or a C6. Ta-da! So what we're going to talk about is the C major, F major. All the chords that we're going to learn together are based off of 1 or 2 notes. The reason why we do teeter-totters is so factually we can play the same chord with different fingers. If we're going to play an F major, we have 4 whole beats to go F on the 1, keep the right hand swinging, place the other fingers in time, and then when the 1 rolls around, play it again. Immediately after the 1, we're going to reposition those fingers to play the original one, the original footing. Our chords, when we play them, they stack up in our memory and we start using them. If you know that this is a C major and you've been playing it like this, that's fine. Because when we play a C major like this with the open notes, that feels good because it goes to the F or goes to the sus, or it goes to like the B diminished to make a B diminished sus. Those notes feel good with that finger there. However, if you play it here and bar both the strings A and E, and then play what you now know is the A major shape at the 4th fret, here's the A major. A major has a C sharp, an A note, an open E, and an open A. That note plus this note makes a, A major. When we flip-flop our fingers and play with our secondary fingers, dare I say even the 3rd set, we get the same note. So what we like to do is move that up and then bar, thusly giving us a sharp or B flat, B, and a C. If we could see this C as being the same as this C, and then playing the G major at the 7th gives us another C, we can see that the chord shapes are the most important thing about what we're learning. So if we know how to play the triangle shape of the G, and we could play it by taking our first off, putting second where it was, third where the second was, and bringing the pinky on, we thusly can see we're capable of playing our chords in every fingering. When we move that up and add our finger, we get another chord, so on and so forth. So what you and I do is we work on doing that, seeing that. However, I don't want to jump into a song until we have our fingering patterns down right, and I want to make sure that you want to do this way. If not, we can just play a couple chords and do some songs and have you stage ready with Diane in no time. But to really, really enjoy this, you have to remember, we're not supposed to understand all this right away. We're supposed to just take little tidbits. So the tidbit this week, keep working with your spider exercises, doing slow and steady. When you get all the way to the top, go back to the beginning and do it again. If you're so inclined, do them backwards. It's hard, but once you do it a couple times, you'll get used to it. And keeping it going. And eventually, this sort of movement turns into the things you're going to be doing while playing melodies, okay? One thing I want to leave you on with this video is just a 7-chord synopsis of the key of C major. C major has no sharps, no flats, meaning we have a C major, we have a D minor, or a D minor, we could take that D minor and make teeter-totter and make this shape, move it up a whole step in bar for an E minor, or we could just play the traditional E minor we find in most of our books. The F major, we know this one for sure. Our G major, we just talked about. The A minor has just the A note and leaves the other A, C, and E, which is an A minor open. Our B diminished looks like our G major 7, but rather our G dominant 7 or our G7, but we call it a B diminished, and then we resolve back to the C. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and it resolves to C. Do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. Open on the C string, second finger, second fret on the C string for the D note, open on the E string, first finger on the first fret of the E string for the F note, third finger on the E string of the third fret for the G note, open A, second finger on the second fret of the A string for the B note, and a half step for the C. Do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. C major has no sharps and flats. It was awesome seeing you today. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you next week. Aloha.